Okay. So as I mentioned, I will be talking about resources that are offered by the graduate school. So for prospective applicants, as many of you are, we do offer application fee waivers. I will also talk briefly about the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences Dean's Doctoral Fellowship, as well as additional student resources available to enrolled students. The application fee waiver is open to US citizens and permanent residents, or even those with DACA status. As long as you're applying to one of the master's or doctoral programs to study at the graduate school, you can apply for an application fee waiver, and you must have must also meet other eligibility requirements, such as having a 3.0 GPA or higher. Your family must also have financial hardship as reflected on perhaps receiving any type of Pell Grant or other scholarship support during your undergraduate study, or if you've been offered a GRE fee reduction certificate. And this information will be provided, so you don't necessarily have to take notes, and it's also available on our website. When you apply for an application fee waiver, this is a lot of text here, but it's very important that you do so before you actually submit your application. So you want to definitely, with any application or any graduate school that you're applying to, you must definitely follow all the instructions completely. So you want to make sure you submit, in this case, submit your application fee waiver before submitting your application. Because unfortunately, if you submit your application and then request an application fee waiver, and more than likely will not be granted. So please make sure you give yourself ample time to apply for a fee waiver. Typically, you want to do this at least 10 days before the application deadline. And of course, if you're applying to our psychology department, that deadline is December 1st. So you have plenty of time to submit that. My understanding is that the online application is traditionally available for fall 2023 in particular. It should be available late September, early October. So just check our website so that you can start your online application and start your account. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to our graduate enrollment services team, and I'll provide their email address at the end of this presentation. When you're communicating with the admissions team, you want to indicate that you are applying for GSAS application fee waiver, and make sure you include your name. We also offer the Dean's Doctoral Fellowship. So in addition to our Mccracken Fellowship that all of our incoming PhD students will receive, we also have a Dean's Doctoral Fellowship where it offers 4 or 5 years of full funding, fellowship support, and a stipend is slightly higher than the Mccracken Fellowship stipend. I did not include stipend amounts here because the annual stipend does change every year. The 21-22 stipend was, I believe, the base stipend was $30,000, about a little over $30,000. So I think $30,238 or something like that. This particular fellowship will pay a little bit more, and there's also some other perks added to this particular fellowship. All of our fellowships do include the Mccracken Fellowship Program, do include coverage of your registration and service fees. But with this particular Dean's Fellowship, there's also a one-time startup stipend. Again, that amount changes, so therefore it's not published here. You also will get a guaranteed spot in the Mccracken Housing Program, which is located in Stuyvesant Town, which is near campus, a very short commute to campus. And basically the Mccracken Housing Program is for first year students in our doctoral programs. And it's a 2-bedroom apartment that you'll share with another first year doctoral student, but it's to get you acclimated to living in New York City, to paying rent and establishing your rent history here in the city. Typically, during any award year, 32 Dean's Fellowships are usually awarded. So for this past or this incoming class, there were 32 Dean's Fellowships awarded, and that's typically the amount that's awarded every year. So we anticipate that we will still award the same amount for fall 2023. These awards are typically announced between March 1st and April 1st as well. To be considered or eligible for the Dean's Doctoral Fellowship, you must be a US citizen or permanent resident. You must also be applying for the fall term and applying to, of course, one of our doctoral programs. Also, on the online application, you must indicate yes to a question that asks if you would like to be considered for one of the school's diversity awards. And you must also, which is very important, complete the personal history statement. So these are screenshots of what it'll look like when you're in the online application, as far as making sure you reply yes for award consideration, but also information about the personal history statement, which also gives you a little more information about the Dean's Doctoral Fellowship as well as the Master's Scholarship. So you want to make sure, in order to be considered, you want to make sure you click yes. So that way, the Graduate Enrollment Services team will know to flag your application to be considered for this doctoral fellowship. That's another screenshot of what the personal state history statement looks like and what they're asking for. And I'm going to talk briefly about that as well. Basically, the personal history statement is an opportunity for us to get to know you, or really, I should say the faculty members that are reviewing the application to get to know you, as well as the review committee for the diversity fellowships. So in this particular personal history statement, you may want to discuss things like your educational or family or cultural or social economic or even personal experiences or challenges that you have faced. You may take the opportunity to also talk more about your gender identity or any community service or outreach efforts you've been involved with. Perhaps you're a first generation college student, so you may want to talk about your status and experiences being a first generation college student, or anything else that you would like for the committee to know regarding you personally. Some of the other things you may want to consider, and again, this information is on our website. How has your personal background motivated you to pursue a graduate degree? So this is different from your actual academic statement. This is more, again, a personal history. So it's really an opportunity for you to share more about yourself. And as far as other important instructions to be mindful of, this is not to be a general autobiography. It should not exceed 2 double-spaced pages. And it should also be submitted along with your application. So as I showed you in the previous slides, that there's actually a section on the application in the menu that actually where you can fill out the personal history statement or upload your personal history statement. Now I'll briefly go over some of our school resources because I know we have a delightful panel here that will tell you more about other university resources. So the Office of Academic and Student Affairs is the office that I work in, and we're a resource for students. We assist you obviously with your academic program as well as with any student affairs concerns regarding your wellness and things of that nature. So we do partner with other university offices, including those that are represented here today. So we'll work closely with the Moses Center. You're applying for an accommodation. We work very closely with counseling and wellness services with our students. We offer wellness workshops. And on the academic side of the office, if you're seeking to change anything with your academic status, that's where that team comes into play. And more importantly, we work very closely with academic departments to make sure you have the best experience possible academically, but also as your engagement as a student within the graduate school. We have the Gsas Ideal Committee, which stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, Accessibility, and Leadership. It's a newly formed diversity committee that began about a year ago, and we have student representatives. So this is a leadership opportunity where graduate students are nominated and then through a competitive application process selected to serve as student members on our Gsas Ideal Committee. We have 3 subcommittees, Community and Belonging, Professional Development and Mentoring, as well as Pedagogy and Teaching. And these 3 subcommittees are working on some amazing initiatives. And we're also working on our GIDBEA Strategic Action Plan. So hopefully it'll be an opportunity for you to get involved during your time at the graduate school. We also host a variety of diversity and inclusion events, including our research showcase, which is a great opportunity for you, again, to submit an application to be considered to submit your research that deals with intersectionality. So hopefully if you are doing research that has a diversity or inclusion or is on the lines of intersectionality, we definitely encourage you to apply. So it's a great opportunity there. We also have workshops for our first gen grad students. So we have first gen Fridays. We also celebrate the annual first generation celebration day, but we actually have a week full of events where you have an opportunity to interact with other first gen grad students as well as first gen faculty. We also have a Gsas mentorship program, which is designed, basically a peer mentorship program, which is designed for our first and second year students. So if you're a first year PhD student, you'll be matched with a second year or beyond PhD student. Also, there's an opportunity for our PhD students to mentor master students. So this is a great opportunity to add on to your your CV, whether you participate as a mentee or eventually participate as a mentor. There are also a number of graduate student groups that you can join. Part of being in graduate school is yes, it's about your research and your academics, but we also encourage you to get involved. So we definitely encourage engagement and that the fact that you're part of an academic community. But through graduate student groups, you'll find peer support, you'll find opportunities to hone and further develop your leadership skills. And just, again, it's more of just a community outside of the classroom. So these links, again, when you get this presentation, you'll see some of our active graduate student groups. And in fact, if you see a group if you have an interest in another group that's not there, you can actually work with your department or work with the Office of Academic Student Affairs to establish and create a student group that will meet your needs better if there's one not currently available. You also will have access to university-wide student groups through, there's a platform called Engage where you can find out about the more than 300 plus university-wide student groups at the university. We offer a variety of pedagogy workshops on inclusive teaching, designing to engage. We also have a GSAS teaching certificate program that goes into more detail. It's offered over 2 semesters, and it goes into more detail about inclusive teaching and other strategies for implementing practical and effective pedagogical strategies in your classroom if you're a TA or even if you're just teaching outside of the university. We do offer a series of writing workshops. We do have GSAS writing advisors, so more senior level PhD students that serve as GSAS writing advisors. You would just submit your work with them and schedule time, and they'll provide you with feedback. Additionally, we partner with the Wasserman Center for Career Development on professional development workshops, including a Versatile PhD and Imagine PhD, which are amazing career tools that PhD students use. And if you need to contact us, this is our information. If you have admissions related questions, you're going to reach out to the Graduate Enrollment Services Office. They'll be able to answer any admissions related questions or fellowship questions. As far as any student affairs concerns, so regarding things like leave of absence policies, orientation, convocation, things of that nature, you reach out to the student affairs team at this particular email alias, and you can reach us via phone. So I look forward to any questions that you all may have, and thank you for your attention.